the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Don't label us left or right. We are American. Not looking for a war, but we came to fight. We are American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising 'cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours inside.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Super Dave Show. It is, it's almost done with October now. It's October 28th, and it's a Tuesday, so this is the middle of the week for me. I know some of you people, this is the beginning of the week, besides yesterday's, but anyway, as you know, I only do 3 shows a week. Get used to it. I'm not changing. So good morning, everybody. Welcome back. The Democrats are exploding. They have lost their freaking minds. You got Eric Swalwell, who's a congressman from California, by the way, who lived with a Chinese spy, as pointed out by Marjorie Taylor Greene. And he said, anybody that runs for president on the Democrat side in 2028 must say the first thing I'm going to do is knock down the ballroom that Trump is having put in. You know, he's not going to do that. I mean, people, he actually do it. He's not going to do that. The reason he said is he wants publicity. I'm a tough Democrat. You're an idiot. Anyway, you know, this stuff is ridiculous. Yeah. And by the way, they're only doing this because they will not, on the Senate side, and people don't realize this. Like, what about Congress? Congress already sent the CR there. They only need a majority, and they got that done. But the Senate needs 60. I'm waiting for the nuclear option. I think it's time to do that. I would like to see, actually, you know what? This is what I'd like to see happen. I'd like to see, maybe by Wednesday, Trump will announce, not Trump, but John Thune, who's in charge of the Senate, will go ahead and say, we're going to do the nuclear option and get it done. Nuclear option means they don't have to have 60 votes. And they'll leave them hanging. And right now, the Democrat voters, the people on Snap, of course, you hear about these people. Wow, we're going to go out and start robbing, what is it? We're going to start robbing, we're going to go to Walmart, and we're going to load our carts up, and we're just going to walk out. These people, you know, okay, the whole idea of SNAP and EBT and all this other stuff, the freebie stuff that we help them with, is to help them get through while they do better for themselves. That's not what we have anymore. How you doing, dog? What we have right now, we have a bunch of people that think they're entitled to the money. Now, if you pay Social Security your life and you get Social Security, that's an entitlement. That's what you work for. It was stolen from you. You're not getting near as much back. But anyway, that's what you get. You're entitled to it because it's your money. But when you got a bunch of lowlives, I'm sorry, that think that they can go out and have baby daddies and sit on their ass and do nothing except have more babies, I don't feel sorry for them. I don't. But then again, I do. You know why? Because the Democrat Party has made them their slaves. Really, that's what amounts to. The Democrat Party's done that. It's really sad. Just see what you. And honestly, let me show you this. I'm going to show you some bad behavior. And I like this woman. I played her yesterday. I'm going to show you some bad behavior here of what these people are doing. They think they're entitled. They think they're entitled. Remember that. So, anyway, make sure we get everything ready. Here we go.
Why I'm not having an aneurysm over people losing their food stamps on November 1st? Here's why.
Come grocery shop with us. Go by faster. One of you.
Look what they're putting in there. Stuff that you and I probably wouldn't get, but let me continue.
This what I pick, and this what he picked.
Look at that. Health food, ladies and gentlemen. You see that? Of course it wasn't health. All processed food, they can't figure it out. And they just buy what they want. Hey, it's not there. See, there's no appreciation. Now, when I go to the store, I actually look at prices. Here, let me continue this.
I tell you what, how about this instead? If you're on food stamps, you get a pre-selected box of meat, bread, rice, food staples, and fruits and vegetables. No more handing you a debit card filled with other people's cash for you to go load up on Oreos. The goal here is to keep you from starving because taxpayers do not need to bankroll your junk food pantry or your health problems. You want to know why I'm not having an aneurysm over...
And she's right. She's absolutely right. You know, there's one thing about feeling sorry for people that have problems. I don't feel sorry for if they can get on their back and screw and have babies for the next 20 years or whatever and have a bunch of kids, then they better figure out how they're going to pay for it. But they automatically think that we have to pay for it. Automatically, they think, hey, you guys got the money, so you pay for me. And how dare you? How dare you expect me to do anything for it? It's just here. Let me show you some more bad behavior. This is quite telling. It really is. Let me get this set up first. This little kid. Watch the behavior of this little kid, and this woman just standing there. This is a future Democrat voter, a nutcase Democrat voter. And you'll see what I'm talking about here. Let me get this going here. All right. Ready for this? This is unreal.
Did I steal?
Stop recording it! Now! You should not be recording it without our permission! My aunt stole glasses. It wasn't her! Do she have a white t-shirt on? No! I'm gonna get arrested, bro. I swear to God, bro. I'm gonna punch somebody in the face, bro.
So this kid's mom was detained by the cops because she fit the description of someone who'd just been seen shoplifting. And I'm trying to figure out how broken your home must be, how crappy your parenting must be, how garbage your life must be that your kid is standing on the sidewalk screaming profanity at the cops. There is no survival for a culture that teaches their kids to behave this way. There is no survival for a culture in which kids learn this behavior from the adults around them. This is what our cops are dealing with. It's what our teachers in classrooms are dealing with. It's what our criminal justice system is dealing with. And it is crippling us. And there is no way for civilized society to coexist with this madness.
What classes?
Folks, this is what we're doing. This is exactly what the Democrat Party has put together. Exactly. And our society cannot last like this. And it's getting worse every day. I mean, with the behavior of some of these people, it just is unbelievable. I can tell you, Swalwell, the congressman, I'm going to do this. Nobody cares on the Democrat side. But, it is costing them. There's no doubt it's costing them. Here's another one. This is another Democrat. I mean, this is where I'm going to show you what Democrats are doing right now. Because this clown, if you know who Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois is, I mean, Illinois is a disaster area. But this is where they are. ICE is bad. They're trying to get illegals out of here, especially the criminal illegals. But Democrat Dick Durbin of Illinois recently stood on the floor of U.S. House and compared ICE enforcing American immigration law to the internment camps. And by the way, every time we say this, it was a Democrat that did that, okay? It was a Democrat. But he's trying to compare these two. We're trying to get criminals out. Nobody that FDR was involved with. Nobody there was a criminal, but they made him criminals. But this way here, just watch this guy. He's such a joke. He's such a joke. Anyway, watch this clown. It's a short, but
only one parallel in history that I can think of that has occurred in my lifetime. And that, of course, would be the internment of 120,000 Japanese Americans during World War II.
he actually said that. These people are disgusting. Now, thank goodness he is retiring at the end of this term. I don't even know what it is, but he's retiring. Thank God for that. But we have handed, I'll tell you what, we better start watching out for these Muslims. Lying dick. Never saw combat. Yeah, I know. Same thing. He acted like he had combat there. He didn't have combat there. He lied. He lied. Of course he lied. Okay, I want to show you this. I want to show you this real quick because this is what we're doing right now. Remember all the truck drivers that don't have their... This is where we are with this. Now watch this now. This is funny. Make sure I got it there. Okay. Let's watch it happen here. I'll do it twice.
All right, steady, right over it. Come on, grab it. Yes, it's got it, bro. Hold tight.
The driver's license.
You did it. Look at that. California CDL, brother. I am official now. That's your ticket, man. Congratulations.
One more time.
All right, steady, right over it. Come on, grab it. Yes, it's got it, bro. Hold tight. It's dropping. Yes. You did it. Look at that. California CDL, brother. I am official now. That's your ticket, man. Congratulations.
Hey, it's true, isn't it? It really is. It's true. Get those drivers. And look what they're doing. California is one of the worst ones. They're doing it there. And I don't understand for the life of me, though. Oh, I did it twice there. Let me get rid of this here. I don't understand for the life of me why they're even allowing this to happen. But they've gone nuts. Now, as we know in New York, I thought about this yesterday. I thought, you know what? Maybe it's a chance. I'm hoping. Maybe, just maybe, this Mamdani thing, he's not going to win. Yeah, look how many CDLs gave out. It's 50,000, wasn't it? It was some unbelievable amount. I was like, what? It was a huge amount. California has loaded our highways. California should secede from the unions. And I'll tell you who else. The three states losing the most people, California, Illinois, and New York. They're all three taking in illegals. They're doing everything they can to defend them. They are a mess. And they're getting away with it. They just are. But, okay, in New York, I'm bringing this up for a reason. In New York,
a peace plan for Gaza.
Mamdani had this little story he used to tell about his aunt. And let me get this quickly here. With his aunt. And it was a lie. It was a downright lie. And so what he would say is, after 9/11, his aunt would walk through the subways and be embarrassed. I mean, and be nervous because these people were looking at her. It was a story. It's just like we just showed Dick Durbin, and we got Dick Blumenthal. What is it with these dicks anyway? They must tell you something right there. But Blumenthal from Massachusetts, whatever. They lied about their service. Well, here we have Mamdani. He's telling this story. Now listen how he changes it because he got caught. He got caught. And by the way, he did not get caught by the mainstream media because they're not going to tell you anything. But he got caught in it, and he got caught enough to where it made a difference. So listen to this, what he says now. Because it's quite different than what he was telling everybody. Here you go. Oh, got to turn this up. Oh, one more. Let me go back here. One more second here.
How will you respond to President Trump? Recently, in a recent address about Islamophobia, you referenced your aunt and some of the harassment she was facing post 9/11. Is that a blood relative?
Yes, that's
I was speaking about my aunt. I was speaking about Zehra Fouhi, my father's cousin, who sadly passed away a few years ago. And for the takeaway from my more than 10-minute address about Islamophobia in this race and in this city to be the question of my aunt tells you everything about Andrew Cuomo and his inability to reckon with a crisis of his own.
The guy lied. He outright lied.
If you've got honey at home, you
Hold on a
might be
second here.
one step away from wiping out your memory problems. Many people don't realize this.
But he outright lied. And want to go through some of this. Yeah, he chastised Cuomo for Cuomo bringing this up. I said, wait a minute, your aunt didn't do that. And by the way, Mamdani's told this story over and over. Now, we already know, though, that doesn't make a difference with Democrats. They can lie through their teeth. They do it all the time. And nobody's doing anything about it. You know, the media, mainstream media doesn't say anything. They're starting, by the way, there's going to be a little change. I'll show you that in a minute here. But, he's been saying this for quite a while. Oh, there's something else here, too. Let me tell you. His aunt, by the way, never wore a hijab. Never wore it. And he was saying, oh, that's because she was wearing this, and they looked at her, and then they found out she didn't even wear it. The guy is lying. Now, the people in New York, all they can see is free this, free that, freeze, rent freeze, all this stuff. All they see is free stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I go back to the education system every single day for a reason. New Yorkers want Democrat rule, let them have it. No, you know what? I'll be honest with you, Jim. I don't think they know what the hell they want. They don't know. People don't even know what socialism is. Oh, it's like Sweden. They bring up Sweden all the time when they socialize medicine. Well, what they found out, most of people, Sweden is changing it all around. It's not working. But they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that. And so what happens is, when you're lied to continually, what do you do with it? Oh, wrong one, darn it. They lie continually. And that's what they do. And for some reason, Democrats don't care about the lies. I guess they're used to it. I watch a car run a red light, no license plate, paying no attention to laws. How can I learn better to have a dose of it? No, you know what? I agree with you. I absolutely.
But recently, you've been using.
I absolutely do agree with you. But I really hope that since people know now, they don't have a typical election. That, like I said yesterday, in most states they have primaries where Democrats run against Republicans run against each other, but they're not doing that here. And so Mamdani can win with 34% of the vote. It could easily be not even a majority. Whoever it is, probably won't win a majority. But with the people, a lot of Republicans know that sleep was the only way to go. That's for sure. They know that. So, all right, I'm going to give you another lie here. Hakeem Jeffries, leader of the House. What do they call him? Toy Store Obama? This guy can't even lie well. Now, Democrats are pissed at CBS right now. Yes. Because one of their own, Democrats are mad because CBS actually asked him a question. And you'll hear the question. And I'll talk about it after we're done here. But ask him a question, a real question. It's really interesting. So make sure I get everything ready here. Okay, let's watch this here.
I want to ask you about something you said. You said Democrats, there are no election deniers on our side of the aisle. You said that back in January. But recently, you've been using the term rigged elections in reference to the upcoming midterms. Democrats were appalled when President Trump used language like that. How do you justify using that now? Doesn't that undermine faith for voters? You need to show up.
I have stopped just for a minute here. That's what you do as a reporter when you're asking questions. You don't just sit there and say, oh, how did that go? Did you make a mistake when you said that? Oh, yeah, that's how they usually do it. But they don't like this. Hakeem Jeffries, watch him. He doesn't like this because he's going to answer it. But listen, you could tell he's like, look, he looks like Biden. You know, so anyway, we'll finish it here.
No, I've been using that term in the context of Donald Trump's unprecedented effort to gerrymander congressional maps in a partisan fashion all across the country in order to rig the midterm elections and deny the ability of the American people to actually decide who should be in the majority as it relates to the House of Representatives.
You know, Democrats are also going through gerrymandering and redistricting.
No. Well, Democrats are going to push back aggressively to make sure that we have fair maps across the country, not partisan gerrymandering, which Republicans have initiated in state after state after state.
Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. And I'd like to talk to this guy. I'd like to interview him. What about Massachusetts, which has 45% Republican, but has no congressman? And there's many blue states that have that. They have gerrymandered everything, so Republicans cannot have any representation whatsoever. It's an outright lie. This is where Republicans really have to do a better job, a much better job. They have not done a good job. But remember I said something about Muslims? You want to see what Muslims are look like now? What happened to it? Let me get it here again so we know it disappeared. Yeah, it's kind of spooky, actually. All right, when you see this, you're going to say, wow, that's where we are. This is New York City. You ready? I hope you're ready for this. This is spooky stuff. It really is. New York City. Here we go. It's worse in Dearborn, Michigan. It's worse in other places. The Muslims have said they want to take over, and the whole idea of what they want to do is they want to eliminate, we're infidels. Remember, we're infidels. We're nothing. Republicans don't deserve any representation as long as MAGA terrorists are running the party. Yeah. That's kind of what the Democrats think, Jim. Yeah, how can I learn better than to have a dose of it? Yeah. You're right about that, though. I understand what you're saying when it comes to New York. And same goes with Minneapolis. Minneapolis, without a doubt. Minneapolis has turned the biggest, Minnesota's turned the biggest joke. But if you go in these blue states where the crime isn't as bad, don't you love the way they come up with this crap? And people believe that. I've actually seen that. It's like, wait a minute. Virtually every big city is blue now. Every one. Every big city is blue. And everyone has huge crime problems. Lot of ghetto problems with black on black crime. They're killed. The white liberals, and by the way, I have a story about this. The white liberals now, hope I have it here. They're hemorrhaging voters in the Democrat Party, and the white liberals have taken over. They've been there anyway, but a lot of the other people aren't doing it. So the Democrat Party's brand is being ruined. The new report claims party is only growing among white liberals while losing everyone else. Good. I'm glad to hear it. New reports been shared with Democrats is filled with bad news about their party. See, so while the media is trying to make it look like, oh, everybody thinks that way, remember that. They're not. Their brand is in the gutter, and they are experiencing growth only among white liberals while alienating pretty much every other group. When you want, come on, when you are doing everything you can, first of all, you're going to elect these communists. They don't want to do that. Democrats, well, look, we grew up as like communism was not the way to go. Of course, I'll go back. I found a story that's going to freak you out, and it's by black people. You'll find out in a minute here. Part of the problem is, and this is fact, I learned this a long time ago. If you only run to be against something, you're never going to win, or rarely going to win. You have to be for something. And the only thing Democrats can do is be against us, be against Trump. Everything's against Trump. Well, I gotta go where Linda is here now. St. Louis is so full of black gangs, it's not safe anywhere in the city. I know. I used to live in St. Louis Hills. Beautiful area. Very clean. That's changed. That's changed for quite a while. Hi there, Sonny. That's changed. And it's really sad that a city I grew up in, and that was one of the nicest areas. St. Louis Hills was where a lot of the more wealthy people lived at one time. And when the wealthy people, it's the term wealthy people has totally changed. Now, I don't have any problem with people making a lot of money. I don't. I think it's great. Especially if you're a business owner, you took the rest, that's it. But some of these are just totally out of line. I'm not the biggest union fan, but a lot of unions, I understand. And right now, I think it's important to some extent, because what I'm seeing a lot with a lot of these scummy corporations, there's a lot of them out there, is they pay their people garbage. They don't really do much for them. The conditions aren't well. Look, I sound like a union guy, but trust me on this. Hear me out. But then you get the stockholders and the CEOs and all the top parts of the company making the CEOs are making multi-million dollars a year, and they don't have a problem. When I watch we're concerned with, I'm concerned with everybody makes. I am. Now somebody says, what about baseball players and all that? Look, that's a voluntary thing. It is. You go there if you're dumb. I will not go to professional sports anymore. I'm not going to pay $15 for a beer. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to pay $80 for a ticket. Even if somebody gives me a free ticket, it still costs for parking. I'm not worried about anybody getting me or anything like that, but it should be, I guess. But you're worried about that. The food is outrageous. You want a water? It's like $6. Something you buy for 25 cents, it's $6. You get a draft beer, it's $15. And then you get players that are making lots of money, but that's the fans' fault, because the fans keep saying, we want to win, and just pay them anything. People have become so stupid when it comes to money. It's unbelievable. Even people that can't afford to go are like, we want a team that wins. All they have is that distraction of baseball or whatever it is, football. It's just, we're in a different world than I ever want to live in. I'll tell you what, it's really spooky. All right, but back here, Democrats, part of the party's problem, they don't stand for anything. They have badly weakened their party with left-leaning ideas and rhetoric, growing only self-described white liberals while losing ground with other voters. The group called Welcome consulted hundreds of thousands of voters over 6 months for broad findings, including that 70% of the voters think the Democrat Party is out of touch. Most voters, the group found, believe the party over-prioritizes issues like protecting the rights of LGBTQ plus Americans and fighting climate change while not caring about securing the border or lowering the rate of crime. That's exactly right. And see, Trump was smart enough to say, we got to close the border. He said from the beginning. And crime, and he's doing something about it. And look at what they're doing. The Democrats are automatically saying, we are okay with illegals, even if they're gang members. Or now they say, well, you get rid of the gang members, but leave everybody else. They crossed the border. It is a law. Last time I noticed, it's illegal to cross the border. But now it's called, well, let them in. We can't take that many people in. And here's the problem. We'll let them in. Can they take care of themselves? Hell no. I was looking at somebody, maybe I can find it. Somebody had what the percentage of people who are getting money, freebie stuff, and the illegals are leading the pack. But they don't get money. You know, for you dumbass Democrats out there that don't understand, the whole idea of the shutdown is your party absolutely wants to give a lot of money to have illegals here. Illegals, you hear that? They can't take care of themselves. They're going to, with Medicaid, California is a big one. They're going to take their money that they charge their voters, and they're going to use it on illegals, and then they're going to say, well, we need that federal money for the regular voters. No, that's how it's all sleight of hand, smoke and mirrors. That's how it works, folks. Elected Democrats will receive copies of the report after its Monday publication, followed by events to promote it in D.C. The report urges party members to abandon some of the progressive language about race, abortion, LGBTQ. I get tired of hearing about that. I do. I never understood why in the world would Democrats concentrate on extremely small issues when it comes to voters. You know, how many LGBT plus voters are there? What, 2%? They're going to put all of it? How many voters on the Democrat side say, yeah, it's okay if they have a grown man with girl sports like Leah Thomas and Riley Gaines against each other? Most Democrats go, that's stupid. I mean, look at Bill Maher. Bill Maher is all over that. No, that's just wrong. It's really interesting. After Bill Maher saw President Trump, he's become a lot better. I've noticed. I think he's become straighter. He's understood that. Because a lot of times what happens, a lot of people, and this happens, you see it all the time, people believe a party. And this is why I go over Republicans all the time. They believe in the party without even knowing what the hell they're doing. And that goes on our side, too. This is why in next year's elections, you people better get out there and you better start electing real Republicans instead of the phony asses that are on the ballot. And don't be fooled by people that come out there like somebody. My friend Paul Kurtman was gone, and all of a sudden somebody comes out there who's an established Republican and says, "Hey, I'm just like Paul." No, they're not. Nobody's like Paul. You got to watch what they're doing. Because you'll get people out there, and they lie. Can you imagine? Look what Mamdani did. He lied about that. They lied. What a surprise. Democrats lost because they moved to the far left. Exactly. I mean, it's really sad. That's where our country is. And for me, it's just, I don't know. It's just, but you know, what do Democrats cause? Okay, we have high crime. We do have lots of high crime. In basically every city. Like I said, blacks are killing each other. We're going to show you another one here. It's that same gal. I like her. I think you like her too, don't you, Joe? But anyway, talking about people getting out of job. I've done this more than once, many times. Many times. But you got people that they just don't care. As long as they're a Democrat, that's all they care about. All right, listen to this young lady here.
Meet David Mazariegos. He's a career criminal who had 33 prior arrests when police arrested him and charged him with beating a man to death on the New York City subway this week. So Mazariegos was out of jail on a $1,000 bail after a similar assault back in June when he kicked the glass door to a theater open and assaulted the security guard inside by punching him in the face. Just a few months after being released on bail, he allegedly beat a 64-year-old man to death on the subway after the man held the door open for him. Police say Mazariegos beat Nicola Tanzi for 10 minutes and stomped on his head at least 15 times before stealing his wallet and fleeing the scene. Police then arrested Mazariegos a few hours later in Times Square, where he was holding a samurai sword. You cannot make this stuff up. When the cops asked him why he had beaten the man to death, Mazariegos reportedly said, "Because he looked at me." This was a lunatic who had been arrested nearly 36 times, released and allowed to walk around in public, and now an innocent man is dead. Because the Democrats who run these cities do not want to lock up career criminals, believe that incarceration is racist, and they would rather score political points by catering to social justice warriors than protecting their own citizens.
Think about it. We really do have to start paying attention to everything. I mean, look at the Snap. Look at Snap. Where is it here? What's going on now? You know, Democrats are complaining about all kinds of stuff, but you've seen the videos of these people, and right now, you've got people starting to go, how many people are on Snap? You know, it's like a gold mine for people. I told you, I got relatives, they're all on this stuff. Hell yeah. Yes, she's exactly right. It's too much. It's just too much. And we honest to God, we got to do something. We just can't continue. You know, when what was it? John Fetterman said there's 2 million people on Snap in Pennsylvania alone. Why? There's reasons why. Number one, the Democrats have taken away good jobs. They've sent them overseas, and that's what Trump's trying to get them back. Number two, climate change. Let's close the coal mines. Now, Pennsylvania was big on mining coal and all the associated industries go with it. That's what they were doing. Oh, there you go. Legal U.S. citizens get the least of the benefits across the board. We take care of illegal. You're right. We take care of illegals better. And a lot of the black people are starting to see that. They go, wait a minute, this is crap. This isn't fair. Look, the whole goal of welfare, you should never be comfortable on welfare, ever. And some people say, well, sure you should. No. If you're just going through a short, like, you know, something happens, I think most of us don't care. And there used to be churches took care of it. Now the churches are too big and get bigger and bigger and doing other things. That's what it should be. But anyway, it turned to government. And it's amazing how many Democrats and some Republicans said, well, we got to take care of those people. They group them together and they say, we got to take care of those people. Well, those people know that you're doing that. They know the other ones are doing it. And they sit on their asses and say, hey, you're going to give me this, you're going to give me that, or we're going to go steal it all. Well, someone like me says, go for it. We'll build more jails. We'll give you 3 hots and a cot. Not a problem. But we got to feed our kids. You know what? You're not feeding your kids. We're feeding your kids. Do you get it? I'm tired of feeding everyone else's kids. You know, we got 2 parts of welfare. We have that welfare, and it's teaching people not to take care of themselves. That's my biggest problem with it. And by the way, back to the schools, which I'm always going to refer back to, they teach people to be dependent. They do that. And Republicans don't care. Well, we do care. Well, you don't care enough to do anything about it. I didn't know this, but I got something kind of alarming here, and it just is about Martin Luther King. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, I didn't know as much about him as I probably should, but this gentleman here is going to show you where Mamdani may be somewhat correct in talking about Martin Luther King. Yeah. This will kind of blow you away. Poor kids should be as fat as other kids. Yeah, you know, look, I'm sorry, but this is the difference between 1960 and 2025. No, let's do 1965, 2025. When you had kids on welfare and parents on welfare, there weren't too many heavy-set kids. There weren't. Now, They walk in there, you saw them, they walk in there, they're big, they eat a lot. They're not starving to death, no doubt about that. They're eating unhealthy. Of course, we allow that to happen through our FDA and the rest of that crap. That's what they do. They're used to it. But listen to this. This might just blow you away because it did me. I didn't know this about Martin Luther King. So here you go.
No, I am not. I call myself a democratic socialist in many ways inspired by the words of Dr. King, who said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There has to be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children.
So y'all saw that he invoked MLK, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I actually have the 6th volume of the MLK papers, which he's referencing on page 105. King says, what will eventually happen is this. Labor will become so powerful that she will be able to place a president in the White House. This will in all probability bring about a nationalization of industry. This will be the end of capitalism, says Dr. King. He goes on to say, what will the new movement be called in America? I must admit that I don't know. It might well be socialism, communism, or a democratic socialism. But what does it matter anyway? A rose called by any other name smells just as sweet. Those are the words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And by the way, when you look at the Democratic Socialist logo, you'll notice that it has a hand with a rose in it. Basically, what it's referencing is that old Shakespearean slogan, a rose called by any other name smells just as sweet. These are people who chameleonize themselves under different names so long as they can push their agenda because they're very utilitarian in this way. King was willing to be known as a reverend, as a pastor, as a minister, using this kind of position to push this Marxist agenda. But if you ask him if he was a communist, no, I'm not a communist. One of his aides, Jack Odell, said you have to basically move out from under this name and join that name in order to be seen as helpful amongst the public. So they associate you not with communism, but they associate you with benevolence.
I had decided to leave the party because not that I had any disagreement with them. But the point is, if there's somebody going to call you one thing or another, you move out from under that so you can get known to be helpful in these other areas.
When people think of Dr. King, they think not of communism, they think of a person who brought the racists together. Meanwhile, you see all these policies that are being pushed, modeled after his legacy, that is moving us towards socialism. Your average American person is none the wiser, and they're just accepting this stuff wholesale because they agree with the symbols of who MLK is. They agree with the symbols of who all these figures that we've been indoctrinated and trained to celebrate are. But the reality is, a rose by any other name smells just as sweet. We have to actually expose a rose for what it is and let people know, like, look, that rose will soon wither and it has thorns. And the fact of the matter is, the society that they're promising you is one that is, first of all, unsustainable. And second of all, will leave you worse off than you currently are.
Are you a communist?
No, I am not. I call myself a democratic.
Think about that. Now, I haven't studied MLK, but that's good to know. It just goes to show you what's happening today. And it actually shows you how so many things are hidden behind us. We don't know it. Anyone that thinks that this Muslim, this Mamdani is going to do any good for New York City is an idiot. But then again, when you raise a bunch of idiots, all you do is get them to follow you and say, we got free stuff for you. Probably damn near every person on Snap and the rest of it is going to say, hey, we don't have to worry about this anymore. Crazy. And by the way, something was brought up to me about Medicaid. The money goes to the states. The states are in charge of what they give people, not the federal government. They send them money, but the states are the ones that say, yes, you get it, you don't get it. There may be some strings attached to it, not from what I know. I'm not really sure, but it's just it. But the Democrats, all they do is lie. That's all they do is lie. Now, I have a question, and I want to see if you people remember this. Have you heard any politicians or even people in the news, like some of the news programs. Call Republicans, especially Donald Trump, Hitler or fascist. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen.
Have you seen it? I want to know if you think you've seen it. Now, I must be dreaming because I think I've seen it many times. Many times. But apparently, I must be wrong. Because we have a reporter here, and one of the worst governors, he's in competition. One of the really bad governors, there's some bad governors we have, and they're all Democrats, by the way, few Republicans. But listen to what they say. Listen to this reporter. I wonder what she's getting paid extra to say this. Watch this. This is. I couldn't believe when I heard this. Make sure I got everything ready here. Okay, here we go.
Suggested that Donald Trump is Hitler. I wouldn't say
I don't
that
think any Democrat has. I actually, and I think it's a smear that they project back on to critics.
Is that what a reporter does? You don't give your opinion. You're asking somebody else, you idiot. Anyway, I'll continue.
But J.D. Vance called Donald Trump cultural heroin. He called him America's Hitler. Yeah. I mean, the attacks on Donald Trump as a fascist came from 3 generals who worked for him. I mean, the most brutal critiques have come from people that have seen him far more closely than you or I combined.
That's why the media sucks. Has anybody ever heard that? And by the way, dog, you're right about MLK. MLK was a womanizer. And, just to be fair, here you are in the pulpit and you're telling everybody all this stuff and you're out there screwing your congregation. Anyway, back to Nicole Wallace here. All she does is make excuses. But
I haven't suggested.
But we're gonna check this out. Think she's right? You think she's right? Let's see if she's right or not. Maybe she's right. Maybe nobody's ever done it. So let's find out.
Suggested that Donald Trump is Hitler. I wouldn't say
I don't think any Democrat has. I actually, and I think it's a smear that they project back on to critics. What is the natural extension, Justin, if he pursues this to Harvard and beyond?
There was an authoritarian leader several decades back called Adolf Hitler. Hitler came to power and the scientists left.
The military survive in that climate.
In the same way that it happened in Russia with Stalin, the same way it happened with Hitler, eventually you get generals and admirals that are in there that only tell the leader what he or she wants to hear.
To the extent that the rule of law and an assault on the rule of law was an obscure, intangible thing, we're now seeing it in action.
If you look back in history, you can see very similar parallels that took place in other countries that really went down that authoritarian road, including in pre-World War II Nazi Germany, when Hitler and Nazi officials basically took over Frankfurt University, which was the bastion of independent thought and progressive thinking and independent thinking, which is what Hitler didn't want. And so again, this is what authoritarians do. They try to control all of the aspects of social life.
When Trump talks about peace and Putin talks about peace, it's autocrats getting their way. That's it. And Mussolini and Hitler said they were being the purveyors of peace.
I resisted for a long time analogies to Hitler's Germany. I've got in my Substack today, though, it's really uncanny. The same episode where Hitler, early in his tenure, before he's totally taken over the government, some local prosecutors go after his brown shirts, and they convict them, sends them, and then he releases them. It's really the same thing.
Throwback to what?
Yeah.
Throwback to what? Poisoning the blood.
I mean, that is literally Hitlerian rhetoric.
Right.
And
what do people think of what happened to us? The parallel here is to maybe show up on the shores and say, no, we'll go with Hitler. I mean, what do they think about the switching of sides with the turning of who occupies the Oval Office? I believe every voter who casts a vote, regardless of who they vote for, has to know that Donald Trump believes Hitler did some good things.
That's your media for you. It blows me away. And you're right, Linda. Media is shit. They aren't the media. They're the evil distributors. It's just, and you know what the problem is? The media actually people believe what the media says. Well, the left does. We don't. But they have some people over there. It just blows me away. But the best description that I found was by Senator Kennedy of who is
This man just roasted it.
running their party. This is all right. This is kind of quick, but Senator Kennedy says it like it is. If you like good jokes or good humor, I should say, listen to this guy. He's hilarious. Here we go.
AOC.
I don't hate anybody, Jimmy. I'm like you. I don't hate anybody. I look for grace wherever I can find it. And the Congresswoman is entitled to her opinion, but she's crazy. She thinks you can land on the sun if you go at night. She does.
This man just roasted AOC.
I don't hate anybody, Jimmy. I'm like you. I don't hate anybody. I look for grace wherever I can find it. And the
Have a special message from my.
I'm telling you what. She thinks you can go to the sun at night. What's wrong with this, Dave? Is plain as anything that Trump is following in Hitler's footsteps. Hey, according to the media, you know what gets me is so much of the media sits there with their Democrat counterparts, because that's what it is, and they don't ask them. Oh, that's why Hakeem Jeffries is freaking out. Wait, you can't do this. We don't do that here. It's just. It's unbelievable. The media is so bad, and they don't do the race. They don't know what the hell they're talking about most time. They ask these leading questions. Do you still beat your wife? I mean, it's basically those type of questions. You're guilty no matter what. It's unbelievable. It really is. But a lot of Democrats are figuring this stuff out. That's the good thing. That's the one thing I do like a lot. Democrats are figuring this stuff out. And I don't know if you ever watched C-SPAN when they have the call-in, but it's really interesting because they have they got a host there, and then they'll have somebody else. But I want you to hear this. This is a caller calling into C-SPAN, and she's a retired federal worker, former worker, and she's retired, and she's not too happy about what's going on with the Democrat Party right now. Because they are, and she knows, just listen, you'll see, I'll let her do it because she does a better job than I'll do.
A retired federal worker. And I hear people talking about, the president needs to get involved, and the Democrats are saying this, and Republicans are saying this. This is the truth. The Democrats, and I'm a Democrat, are the ones that actually, in the Senate side, shut down the government. They did not vote for a continuing resolution except for 3 of them. One is the senator of Pennsylvania, Fetterman, and all. So they have to get together and stop holding American hostage. We're about to have people without food come, November 1st, which is the end of this week. And that's ridiculous. It is not worth it. Plus, the health care companies have already said you're way past the deadline for them to change their costs that they're going to give out to the public for the health care. So, because November 1st is open season. So, they need to get together. I know they keep on saying the president needs to come back, but the power of the purse is with the Congress, not the president. You all talk about this president being a king, but if you want him to solve this problem, you're making him a king. This has got to stop in America. I want the Democrats to fight, but I want them to fight in a negotiating way like I did when I was a union president versus sitting up here constantly bickering and the Republicans bickering. This has got to stop, and America has got to stop accepting it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good for her. People are getting it, folks. They're getting it. They got a lot of people against them on this shutdown. A lot of them. You know, and something else. I'm going to go back to SNAP again and EBT and all that. I'm going to stick with that a little bit because, number one, we're teaching people they don't have to work. They're teaching people they get a handout from anywhere. And if they don't, they're entitled to go in and steal it. That's what we're teaching people. We're teaching people not to be responsible, obviously. It's just sad where we are today. And we're teaching people it's okay. You get this money, and I've told you over and over, when you get this SNAP or EBT, whatever it is, I can't tell you, a lot of people with those programs, and they don't want to talk about it, they get their EBT card or whatever, and they sell it off. And then they go to food pantries to get their money. So if they get a $3,000 EBT card, which a lot of them are getting, it sounds like, they sell for $1,500. They can buy a lot of booze and drugs and whatever they want with that money. Well, this is how I make it. And then they go to the food pantries. Look, they know how to work the system. I told you, I know people. I just know people that do. And I've been trying to stop it for years because the bottom line is you have no self-respect when you're stealing other people's money. You don't. And they think you should respect them because they're out there laying on their back having babies, and you should go ahead and give them money because they're. And look what this is going to have these babies. Look at it. I know. Most of them in my family still live on public assistance or whatever. They do. That's what happens when you have ghetto babies. You know, you got welfare babies. They get used to it. That's their survival. That's what they do. You know, people survive. They figure it out. Hey, you say I'm not going to have any booze or something like that. To hell with you. I'll take that card you give me. I'll do that. I'll figure out a way to get what I want. And they will figure it out. They will figure it out, and they always do. I keep warning people that you know, that's why we all have to do something. We just can't sit around. And, you know, there's things on and it all starts with our children. And one of these days, it's going to kick in. I'll probably be dead by then, but it's going to kick in. And people say, you know what, that Super Dave used to say that all the time. I don't say it to make myself feel good. I don't. But damn it, if you care about the kids, excuse me, you care about the kids and the grandkids and, you know, the future generations, stop with the climate shit because, I mean, the climate change crap makes me mad because it's all bull. You know, it's something that they come up with. They get somebody to believe, get a bunch of dummies to believe, especially to go to college. I mean, college has become the biggest place to brainwash people. And then they killed the guy who was trying to crash that. Trust me in this. That was not just the shooter. There was more to it than him because people knew that man had an impact. Now, the impact, it's slowing down a little bit, but you know, I'll go back to what Erica is doing. Erica Kirk is doing. They're going to have an altar program during the Super Bowl. So while NFL idiots are watching the stupidity of the Bad Bunny and the dumb things they've had the last few years. And by the way, some of the football owners aren't too happy about it. Hunt of the Kansas City Chiefs, not too happy about it. Not happy at all. Jerry Jones of Dallas Cowboys, not happy about it. But Roger Goodell, by the way, I found out, is his brother's married to a guy. They you know, get rid of Goodell. I don't know why they keep him. It's just crazy. He's been there forever, and I don't know. I don't get it. So anyway, all right, I'm going to take a break, ladies and gentlemen. I need a break. Always need a break. So let's see if this works today. Anyway, I'll be back in a few. You're watching the Super Dave Show.
If tomorrow things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again. The just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee,
Across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I will stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt this is land. God bless the USA. God bless this country. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
Thank you. All righty. I guess we'll go to the second half show now. Somebody asked me one day, they go, why do you do what you do? And I got a confession to make. I love my country. I have spent money doing this show. I haven't asked anybody for anything. But I'm going to get to a point where people are going to have to start, I'm going to start advertising things start next week for sure. And in order for these things to last, believe me, I hate doing this. You have to understand that it costs money. And I'm not, I'm not rich by any stretch of imagination. In fact, quite the opposite. But I finally started looking at things that it's time for me to start doing things. So starting next week, I'm going to start advertising. And, with the boxes I have, I kind of held off on that for a while. I wanted to learn more and more about it. And I do know a lot more about it. I do study these things. I research a lot. So I hope that, I start this. I hope people say, hey, we got to take care of each other. That's one thing we don't do very well as conservatives. We don't do it. And it really is bothersome because I remember when Charlie Kirk and a couple people, they were advertising things, and conservatives got mad. It's like, hey, I can't believe you're doing this. It's like, where do you think the money comes from? I have time I spend, and I'm not complaining about it. I love this. But it does cost money. So anyway, I'm just letting you know. So next week, I am going to start doing some things, and if you don't like it, too bad. I don't care. I got to survive. All right, on to something else here. I'm going to show you a moron. Winsome Sears, Jim, you're here, is a black lady who's running for governor of Virginia. She's running against a racist white liberal, which they're not going to tell you that, but she is. And we always hear how Republicans are the racist party. Okay? Let me show you. This is what a racist is. Hear him? He's talking about her, calling her the N-word. Oh, I know, he's a Trump supporter, right? That's what you'll hear probably. But it's not true.
And Chad Grew.
You will hear that. But that went viral. Here we go. A man who went viral for lobbying. Start this over. The man who went viral for lobbying racially charged insult at Virginia gubernatorial candidate Winsome Earl Sears during a college football game earlier this year, subsequently filed a police report claiming he was getting harassed after the incident went viral. The Fairfax County Police Department confirmed that it was aware of the police report that was filed. Ultimately, the department, through threat assessment unit, found the information provided did not meet the criteria because he kept saying, go back to Haiti. During a James Madison University football game. After the incident, Sears clarified on social media she's an immigrant from Jamaica, not Haiti. She goes, I thought Democrats were supposed to love everyone. That's what they try to tell you. Good morning, Charlie. The man identified by local news report as Scott, Podjerlik, from Centerville, Virginia, was also reported fired by his employer, a subsidiary of government contractor Lockheed Martin. A JMU football player for the same name, red shirt and offensive line. We hold all our employees and subsidiaries to the highest standards of integrity, unless you're a public school teacher in Chicago. Unbelievable. He's also a Democrat Party donor, the guy that was yelling at. According to Federal Election Commission filings, the Democrat candidate, he gave money to Winsome Sears' opponent, Abigail Spanberger. The situation involving him was not the first time Sears has faced racial insensitive remarks, but I thought Republicans were. Wait a minute, she is a Republican. So Republicans don't do this. You know, in fact, we welcome people. We want the black population to come over. We want to teach, most Republicans want to teach them how to be successful, how not to be dependent on the government, how to take care of yourself. Democrats love slaves. I've been telling you that for a long time. They love slavery. And they want these Democrats to depend on them. That's how they do it. We'll give you a little money. Well, little money. Hell, they give them all they can. Because they have to pay their protesters. I mean, look where they are, but they're actually considering how they're losing voters and voters every day and everything. They're quite successful, but they're losing it now. By the way, let me see, where was it here? In August, while speaking out against transgender bathroom policies outside a boardroom, a counter-protester held up a sign. Hey, Winsome, if trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share our water fountain. Would you consider that racist? I would. Following that incident, Governor Glenn Youngkin, who is facing the end of his term limit, blasted what he described as a hypocrisy of the liberal left. You know, folks, the media has given us this deal where Democrats are for the working people. Tell me how that works. Democrats were in charge of getting ready so many jobs in the 90s, 80s, and 90s especially, but 90s especially. That's when they got rid of them. When they pressed when Clinton passed NAFTA. All of a sudden, like what's his name said? I can't think of his name. The candidate. I'm sure somebody will tell me. Oh, darn it. I know what it is. Tip of my tongue. But anyway, he's going to be a giant Perot. Ross Perot. You didn't have to do it. Ross Perot. And a giant sucking sound from Mexico. It's going to be sucking the jobs, and that's exactly what happened. And the Republicans, who were in on this too, by the way, they were making fun of him. And actually caused problems. They did that with him. They did it with Ron Paul. Republican establishment. They didn't want them there. I was not happy with Republican establishment when Ron Paul was running. And a lot of people don't know about Ron Paul, but I do. And I ask a lot of people, I went to these Ron Paul deals, and because I couldn't stand Romney. Romney was a joke. Romney was a complete joke. Anyway, because Romney ran against Ron Paul, and Romney, I was right about him. And the Republican establishment went out and said, well, he doesn't care about having relations, and he doesn't care about our defense. And they were lying. Republican establishment was lying. That's when I started really hating Republican establishment. And I still say to this day, and people don't understand, you think Republican establishment's gone? No, they're there. Every state house is full of Republican establishment. We have to work on our state level to get rid of them. In the state of Missouri, I can't tell you how many people, senators and state reps are establishment. They got R next to their name, and it doesn't mean a damn thing because they vote with Democrats a lot. It's sad. But that's what we have to do on the state level. So, Charlie, am I right about that? There's a lot of people, and Charlie's got to deal with these people. He's looking for conservative things from the state, and it's hard to get it when you got liberals out there, and you got to get along with them just to get the stuff. People just don't know how politics works. That's all there is to it. By the way, the pilots aren't too happy about the shutdown. They call for a clean CR to end Schumer's shutdown. This is a Schumer shutdown. They've already been caught saying, hey, we're using it as leverage. They're using the people that they say they support, SNAP and all the rest of the dependents. Their slaves are getting mad. And I'm wondering what Trump's going to, Trump's involved always anyway, but I wonder if John Thune, the leader of the Senate, is going to say, we're going to nuclear option, we're going to do that, we're going to go ahead and end this shutdown in spite of Schumer. They can play the games all they want, but they'll look like the heroes instead. We've done this long enough. They're sticking to their guns for this crap. We're not going to do it. We're going to end the shutdown. We'll see how it goes. I'm not really sure. Because sometimes people have to hurt a little bit. They want to see Schumer go down, but this is all about politics. Anyway, back to the skies. The skies are getting turbulent for Democrats. By the way, some of the airports have closed and canceled thousands and thousands of flights. People want to get somewhere. They're a little getting nervous because they can't get there. Their flights are canceled. Just think, think if you were going to a wedding in another state or something like that, or whatever, go visit your aunt, whatever. And you've had your plane tickets for a while, and all of a sudden you get there and they go, sorry. Shut down. We can't do it because a lot of pilots can't afford it. Anyway. Skies are getting turbulent for Democrats as the nation's largest pilot associations representing tens of thousands of airline and cargo pilots are publicly turning against Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer's ongoing government shutdown. Many unions that typically align with Democrats are calling for the immediate passage of a clean continuing resolution, which is what was there before. It was put together by Schumer. That's what they don't understand. To reopen the government, blaming political obstruction for jeopardizing air travel safety and national stability. The Airlines Pilots Association and all these other ones, they want to put an end to the unnecessary and damaging shutdown. The shutdown was engineered by Democrats, and they know that. They're not stupid. Just unbelievable. But they're doing everything they can to destroy our country. They don't care about our country. Don't think they do. They don't care about our country. Anybody thinks they do, doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. They care about their power. All they talk about is we're going to get it back in 2026 and 2028. We're going to take it. They think they're going to take over the House and the Senate. That's going to be awful hard for them. In fact, they're talking about even picking up more seats in the House and more seats in the Senate. Because a lot of independents who are kind of making the decisions a little bit here, they're saying, we can't go with that party. They're letting boys and girls sports. They're they're defending the criminals, that they're defending criminals in the cities. Trump, they can see Trump is trying to make the cities better by having troops in there, and they completely lie. It's, you know, the governors and mayors are just using everything they can just to shut down Trump. Because they don't want successes. It's over and over. It just doesn't. I don't know. And then here in where is it? Maine. In Maine, Graham Plattner. He's got a Nazi tattoo on him. He's a Senate candidate. His campaign is spiraling out of control because all of a sudden it hit, and his campaign manager left. Graham deserves someone who's 100%. His excuse is, he's got to go. He's got some important business. Plattner's been under damage control. Now, I want you to listen to what he says here.
Hey, everyone.
He's trying to cover his ass here. He's trying to include things where he looks better. And it'll work with Democrats. It will work. But all we heard is about Nazis, and he's love to get, you know what? I hope certain people are doing their research on this guy. But listen to what he says, because he's going to try to talk you, if you're a Democrat, he's going to talk you into it. And like I said, probably work with a lot of Democrats. I'm sure it will. So here you go.
Graham Plattner here. I want to talk to you about something. In 2007, when I was a young infantry sergeant in the Marine Corps, myself and some machine gunners I served in Fallujah and Ramadi with were on our third deployment. We were in a naval vessel and we pulled in for a Liberty port in Split, Croatia. We went ashore to do the thing that young Marines do, which tends to be carousing and sometimes getting tattoos. We wanted to get something that represented our jobs, our service, fighting in Fallujah and Ramadi as machine gunners. We went ashore, we found a tattoo parlor after a fair amount of heavy carousing, and we found a tattoo on the wall, a piece of flash that looked like a terrifying skull and crossbones. We thought it looked cool, and so we got it. I have had this tattoo for the last 18 years. I re-enlisted into the United States Army with this tattoo, where I was screened for hate and gang-related tattoos. I worked for the State Department as a contractor, where I got a full physical, which included screening my tattoos. I've gone through life with this thing, taking my shirt off, having photographs taken, videos taken. I've been very, very open in my life with the fact I had a skull and crossbones on my chest, because that's what I thought it was. It's come to my attention that it has a stark resemblance to a symbol that is used by neo-Nazis. And I want to say that was not the intent at all. And the idea that I've been going around with something like that utterly horrifies me. I know that symbols like this can be incredibly damaging to people, and the idea that I've had it all these years and it could have been read like that is incredibly troubling. I have lived a life dedicated to anti-fascism, anti-racism, and anti-Nazism. I think that racism and anti-Semitism are a long scourge on our society and a long scourge on our politics, and I think it has no place in our world. For that reason, I have gone and gotten it covered up. Last night, I went to a tattoo parlor, and I got this to cover up the skull and crossbones. It's a Celtic knot with some imagery around dogs, because my wife Amy and I have two wonderful dogs that we love a lot. This far more represents who I am now than even the skull and crossbones did, which I thought that it was. This has come up because the establishment is trying to throw everything it can at me. It is terrified of what we are trying to build here. Every second we spend talking about a tattoo I got in the Marine Corps is a second we don't talk about Medicare for all. It's a second that we don't talk about raising taxes on the wealthy. It's a second we're not talking about the material struggles of Mainers as they try to scrape through a system that at its core is trying to rob them. And that's why tonight, I'm just going back right out on the road. We're holding a town hall in Ogunquit, where much like I've been doing for the past month, going around the state of Maine, making myself accessible to Mainers in their communities so I can listen to them. I can hear about what it is they need to change in our political system. And that is what I'm going to continue dedicating my time to. Thank you all very much, and I really appreciate your support through all of this. I will say, it is deeply hard for me personally, but all the outpouring of support telling me to stick with it, telling me that this doesn't matter, telling me that this means that the system is scared, it means the world to me. And I want to say thank you to all of you who have done so.
My friends, that's called a political speech. Had to include his dogs. You notice that. And my dogs are beautiful dogs. So he's had this thing for what, 17 years or whatever it is? He didn't realize that was a Nazi symbol. He didn't realize that. Oh, I'll be darned. How that happens, you know, I didn't know. Well, I didn't know that. And the dumbasses on his side go, well, he didn't know that. We're all dumbasses. That's what it amounts to. I mean, how in the world can anybody believe this guy? He got caught. Who was it? There were others. He got caught with blackface, and they were Democrats. Who was it? There was another one caught with blackface. Wasn't Newsom with blackface at one time? And there were a few of them like that. But no, we don't do that. So, no, we don't do that. Bullshit. Of course you do it. They lie to people and say, not me, not me. And they were caught red-handed. You know, oh, well, I had just done it. And it's, you know, it's reminiscent, this and this. Oh, yes. Let me tell you my little sob story. And that's what he's telling you. Give me a break. I mean, honestly, is anybody buying this line of bullshit? Because that's exactly what it is. It's bullshit. But you know what? Somebody's going to believe him. A lot of Democrats go, well, you know, I'd rather have him than whoever. It doesn't matter. Lesser of two evils. And the other guy, the other person has an R next to their name. Uh-oh. An R next to their name. He's bad. He's bad. I tell you what, it's really kind of funny, but that's politics all the way. All the way. And please, I got something really kind of fun here. If you don't know who Tyrus is one of the guys on Gutfield's show, and he's on Fox. Big guy. Big guy. And you'll see. But he's talking about texting with Donald Trump. Now he actually puts on a good little show here. And I thought it was kind of cute. It's only a couple minutes, but it's kind of cute. You'll love this. This guy's actually pretty funny. He's straightforward. He's pretty funny. So, all right, here we go.
Trump and Tyrus, legendary.
99% of the shit that the bullshit propaganda media said about the president is bullshit. But the one thing they got right was that 3 a.m. tweet shit. He texts me at 2:30 in the morning. I'm in bed asleep with my wife. My phone, ding, ding, ding. I'm like, oh, I woke up and I was like, hey, yo, Tyrus, it's the president. I just filled California up with water. Governor's pissed. Look at these pictures. Post them tomorrow. LOL. I text him right back. You cold-blooded, Mr. P. Cold-blooded. I bet he was, man. You filled up all the reservoirs? All of them. Hashtag that little fish. Not making this shit up. I'm not. Whole side of my face got hot. I turned to look. My wife was like, who in the f are you texting at 2:30 in the morning? President. Tell the bitch she can have you. So it's the president. Give me that. Tell him it's 2:30 in the morning and tell him to text you tomorrow. What? Would you like me to do it? No. Hey, Mr. P, my wife says it's late and that I got to hit you tomorrow. Text me back right away. Okay, cool. Hashtag pussy whip. That's our president.
That was good. I liked that. That was pretty funny. You know, if you can't have fun on the show sometimes, what's the point? Oh, good God. Can you imagine that? He's pretty good. He really is. Now, I got one more here. Psaki. Remember her? She used to be the press secretary before the black lesbian was. But this woman is just an outright, she's in the right position. She's an outright liar. She is. She's an outright liar. And listen to what she says. It just is, these people have no compassion whatsoever. And all they want to do is lie in every way. First of all, I want to get to this third term thing. Trump loved, and by the way, when he was saying, it was Mr. T, it does the, they were in the last video I showed you, he was saying Mr. T, not Mr. P. So they just misunderstood when it was giving language. Anyway, back to this though. Trump is not really going to run for third term. Make sure, even yesterday he said, I think Vance and Rubio is going to make a hell of a team. But he likes to he likes to play with the press. I don't blame him. And that's actually what a lot of people says. Even Mike Johnson says, yeah, he likes to have fun with them. Well, no, Psaki is the first one. And then I've got the other one's name, the black lesbian. She was the second one. Psaki was the first one. That's what I'm talking about. If I said it different, that's only because that happens when you do a show. So if I said it wrong. But anyway, let's listen to her because she's so likable. Not. There you go.
When you look at what Donald Trump is actually doing when it comes to our elections, the prospect of him trying to defy the Constitution to remain in office doesn't seem so hard to believe. And I'm not just talking about his last failed attempt to illegally stay in power on January 6th. I'm talking about things he is doing and his administration is doing right now. Today the Justice Department announced that it plans to send election monitors to about a half dozen counties in California and New Jersey to monitor polling sites during their upcoming elections, happening just 11 days from now. And some of those counties just happen to be where key congressional races will take place a year from now, which is definitely not a coincidence. We should see all of this as a trial run. And I'm going to speak with a top election lawyer who also lives in California about this later in the show. Look, election monitoring is something past administrations have done, usually not in off-year elections. But let's also just put this in a bit of context. Trump's allies are trying to overturn a key section of the Voting Rights Act. Trump is sending military into the streets of American cities, in part to intimidate people from participating in the democratic process. They've been pressured.
Wow, didn't it look like they were intimidating people in that video right there? I'm going back to it, but I just saw that, and they're walking down the street. They're intimidating. Well, when you go after them, yeah, but the other party's intimidating. Look, ICE is not out there intimidating anybody because you've got all these morons that are going out there fighting ICE. But anyway, let me continue here. You can tell this woman is nothing but a pathological liar.
As we all know, we've been covering this a lot, Republican leaders in red states across the country to redo their congressional maps to steal back seats. And now Trump wants to put his hand-picked lackeys in charge of monitoring elections. Now, taking all of that together gets easier and easier to imagine that Trump himself is actively considering ways to hold on to power in 2028, or at the very least that he will abuse his power to help his Republican allies try to stay in office in 2026. And these are clearly not the actions of a party that thinks it can rely on the support of voters to stay in power or their own policies. When you look at how they are running the country right now, It's like they're not even trying to win over voters. Absolutely nothing they seem to be doing right now seems geared towards winning more voters, winning more people over. You can't really look at a single thing they're doing and think the goal of that policy is to win popular support. So when the president's top allies start encouraging him to ignore the Constitution, to hold on to power, when the president is clearly gearing up to suppress the vote in any way that he can, we kind of have to pay attention. But this country is still a democracy. Elections do still matter.
It is?
It's going to require clear and decisive victory at the ballot box to prove Americans will not be intimidated by these tactics.
That woman's nuts. She just, you think she's biased, ladies and gentlemen? Think she's biased? It never stops with these people. Never, ever. I give up. I mean, it just
They got to figure out the.
It just blows me away that they continue putting out their bullshit. But you know what's really weird? I'm going to show you Bill Maher now. Now, Bill Maher, like I said, and he's not necessarily, he's not on Trump's side, but he's definitely not what he used to do. He used to just automatically go after Trump, and he's really calmed down. You got to give Chris Rock, rocker Chris Rock, credit for that, because like I said, he's the one that got him to meet Trump. And when Maher came back, he says, you know what? He was really a good guy. He was really a good guy, but that didn't matter. Because the Democrats went and got all over Bill Maher. I can't believe you said that. Said, hey, he wasn't negative or anything like that. He was good. In fact, he had a bunch of stuff that he had said against Trump, but he had it with him. And he asked Trump if he'd sign it. He goes, certainly I'll sign it. Trump doesn't, people don't get Trump. They just don't get him. Trump is really a very nice guy. But when you got the media out there trying to treat him like he's some kind of criminal, that gets old. So anyway, all right, let's listen to Bill Maher and, of all people, Charlie Sheen. They're talking about Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl. And I'm telling you, this could be totally different. If Erica Trump and TPUSA they already got Bob Seger and a bunch of other people that's going to be on the show. I think Dolly Parton and all that. I'd rather see Dolly Parton there at the Super Bowl. But this Bad Bunny, give me a break. Anyway, they're going to do this. I can't wait to see it. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I am. I won't even watch the Super Bowl. I don't care. Unless I'm at people's houses or something like that and they're watching it. But I really couldn't care less. So anyway, all right, here you go. Let's listen to Maher here.
They got to figure out the halftime show.
What?
The Super Bowl needs to figure out the halftime show.
What do you mean figure out?
Figure out, like just deliver something that the diehard fans really want, as far as musically.
So you am I taking this as sort of a backhanded slight to Bad Bunny?
Yeah, I mean, there's bands, there's acts, there's just people that I think are more germane to the experience of the game, of that moment, of that particular game. It's the biggest game in the universe that's played.
Yeah, I agree.
And I just feel like it.
And I'm sure Mr. Bunny is wonderful. I mean, it's a reflection on me that I don't know his work as well as I can, but I'm of a different era. I was hoping the halftime show would be Eddie Rabbit.
I mean, that I'm watching.
But even their own people are turning against him. I mean, it's really bizarre. It's really, and they keep losing them. They keep losing their Democrats because Maher's like, well, yeah, it's really anybody that thinks that this Bad Bunny at the NFL is a good thing are really pretty stupid. They really are. And I'll tell you, I don't know where this is going. By the way. Oh, is that it? Is that it? Oh, let me see if that's it. Let me see if that's it here. I have one other here I wanted to show you. I want to show you all kinds of stuff here. I work hard at this, I think, but anyway, give me a second here. It's what happens when my producer doesn't show up again. Hasn't shown up yet. So that's all right, I manage. when you watch, you know what this government shutdown hits the most? Somalis, like refugees in Arizona. And I did know the biggest percentage of people getting free stuff are Somalis. And guess who's from Somalia? Omar. Congresswoman Omar. Once the application, being November 1st, refugees in Arizona will no longer be eligible for a SNAP, commonly known as food stamps. Once the application is submitted, it takes an average of 12 and a half months to receive the card, according to Habibi. Listen to these names. The director of programs at Tucson said, we're getting all these Muslims. They want us dead. People, come on. Once the application, let me see, she spoke at Tuesday's Board of Supervisors. SNAP made sure there was food on our table when we were learning how to navigate life in here. We gave them money and food and stuff so they know how to navigate here. Seriously. By SNAP, Ahmed means American taxpayers. It's not just Arizona. Life is hard in Somalia without as much American tax relief. So let's get the Somalis and bring them here, and they can do the same thing here. This is dumb. By the way, Omar, her current worth is looking pretty good. Let me see. She's worth $6 million now. All you have to do is get elected, and all of a sudden your bank account goes up. Ask everybody but Trump. Trump is the only one, his bank account's gone down. Everyone else, Nancy Pelosi, I mean, you name it, all these Democrat politicians and some Republicans, and the Republicans are the establishment. Make no mistake about it. They know what's going to happen when they pass legislation. They go ahead, and it's basically insider trading. Insider trading, that's what they're doing. And they get away with it. Folks, I'm telling you what, we better get our act together because it's only going to get worse. I don't know what's going to happen with this. And I'm going to go back to the kids. What do we teach our kids? Handouts. You know, I remember when I became a parent at first, I'm teaching my children. And I noticed that when one of them does stuff, actually there was one parent, she had 3 boys. And when it's one of their birthdays, she gave them all birthday presents. So 3 times, obviously they had 3 kids, 3 birthdays a year. They all got, because she didn't want to be unfair. I guess she had them participation trophy, I don't know. But she didn't want to be unfair. So every birthday, all of them got birthday presents. Unbelievable. I just, that's where we are. Oh, goodness. Where is it here? Biden with his auto pen. Remember that? Well, he had his auto pen and trying to make everything legal. So he had all these pardons, and I can't wait to go through that. And like I said yesterday, there's so much that the Department of Justice is going after right now. It's going to take time to go through a lot of it. And everybody's got their favorites. Just be patient. But John Solomon, I like John Solomon. He's pretty good. But listen to what he's got to say here. Let's listen. Let me try this again here. Go here.
It's resulting in some major wins from the FBI to get to.
Let me go back.
Dealing with the Bureau's policy of building a lot. Big news coming from the FBI to get to. Dealing with the Bureau's policy of building alliances with local police departments. It's resulting in some major wins. The most recent was Operation Chalkline, which used 14 SWAT teams to penetrate street gangs that had been terrorizing the cities of Milwaukee and Racine in southeastern Wisconsin. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino praised it over the weekend. Officials said the raids around Milwaukee were the product of a years-long investigation that brought state and federal partners together. Pretty successful operation. And by the way, the gangs they took down had ties to international cartels. So they weren't just even terrorizing in Wisconsin. They were all over the world. That's just the latest example. The partnerships known as Homeland Security Task Forces that brought together FBI and HSI personnel as well as task force officers from local, state, and federal partner agencies. The target, transnational organized crime activity. That's what they're bringing on. Things like drug trafficking and human trafficking. Big wins. Cities are a lot safer. There were 5 cities that had major raids last week where those task forces were fast at work. All right. All right.
I'm bringing this up for a reason now. Now, that's what our current FBI is doing. You remember what our previous FBI was doing? They were sending FBI agents to people that stood up at school boards and went after school board members for allowing LGBTQ and all this other bullshit going on. And all of a sudden, they called them domestic terrorists. They were going after people who were standing out in front of abortion clinics, holding up signs about abortion. Stop abortion. That's what the FBI was doing. Remember, don't forget the one. I can't remember the names. Doesn't matter. They went to the one house where they had like 7 kids. The guy had already, his lawyer had said, if FBI wants to see me, I'll go in their office. Not a problem. They couldn't do that. They sent SWAT teams and just terrorized the neighborhood, and especially the family at 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. And he took him in jail. He was ready to go. He said, if you want to talk to me, I'll come in. His attorney said he'll come in. It didn't matter. It's a show of force. You talk about Nazi-like, that's Nazi-like. That's what they did. Did anybody complain on the left? Of course not. Because they were going after, Trump is going after illegals. And then you got protesters who hold signs up about killing babies. And they put them in the same place. And let's not forget something else, too. When the J6ers, there were J6ers that went in the building. They didn't hurt anybody, do anything. Yeah, I'll get that. Thank you. I forgot about that one. J6ers. There were a few bad boys, but I want to give them a break. You start shooting rubber bullets at me and tear gas and stuff, I want to kick some ass. I'm not lying. There was no reason. It was a peaceful protest, and I don't care who's told you anything else. It was a peaceful protest. They were singing hymns. They were chanting good, really nice thoughts because they just were not happy with the election because it was a fixed election. We all know that. So instead of just saying, let them do it, our government came after them. They infiltrated 264 FBI agents. And they didn't have their gear on. They said FBI. Sorry, we have a problem here. Where that means you're going after, you're not going after people who are breaking law. And whatever happened, what was it, Ray Epps? Who was he with? They took forever to supposedly go after him and gave him a slap on the wrist. And he was the guy saying, go in the Capitol. They had these people, they had these plants there that said, go in the Capitol. And by the way, some of the police moved the gates to let them in. And then after it happened, the FBI goes after and says, you were in the Capitol. You weren't supposed to be in there. They got a kangaroo court in Washington, D.C. They put these people in jail. That's what our FBI did before. What's this FBI doing? They're working with law enforcement to try to get these bad people up because, number one, the FBI can do things that local law enforcement can't. Because think about this. Say, for instance, you're in a city that you got a crap mayor who's a liberal, a lot of them around, and they're telling the police, don't do this. They can't tell the FBI not to do it. So the police go, all right, we're getting orders. We can't do this, but you can. So the FBI goes in and goes after these gang members. That's how it happens. You didn't know that, did you? They work with them. They got it. You've got to get the job done, and you get it done any way you can, and that's exactly what Trump is doing. He's trying to make the city safer, and the Democrats are trying to make it more dangerous. And they've done a great job at it. It's really sad. It's really sad. And They call Republicans, MAGA especially, the bad people. We're the ones causing the problems. I don't remember any violence happening at any Republican thing I've ever been at, except for January 6th. And like I said, that was not started by us. It was started by them. It makes me sick to my stomach. That's the country we're in. This is why every day I tell you, we need your help. We need people there who's going to help. That's what we need. We need people there to take over schools. We need people to get involved politically on a local level. You know, my friend Charlie was here a little bit ago. He has to fight the phony that, you know, in where I came from, Jefferson County. All 7 council members have an R next to their name. Make no mistake about it. Not all 7 are Republicans. Oh, they have an R next to their name. They say they are. They're Democrats. They were Democrats to begin with. They put an R next to their name. The stupid voters, that's people watching this show. If you're not one of them, don't get mad at me. But the stupid voters, without thinking about it, I mean, some of them ran as Democrats for a long time. They didn't change what they're doing. They just said, well, if we can't win with a D next to our name, put an R because the voters aren't paying attention anyway, and they aren't. We've got to pay attention. And we don't do it. We just don't do it. And for me, it's unconscionable that we continue to allow this to happen. They arrested people from J6 that were standing on the parking lot outside. Yeah. And you know what? The one thing I'll never, number one, I did interview. There were 3 guys who were in Pelosi's office. I interviewed them when they were leaving. Not his office. They were outside. And they said it, and I did not. I interviewed them from the shoulder down. Didn't show, but you know they have video of them anyway. I didn't give it to them, but they were there. But the ones I walked, there were some people who were formerly Chinese that moved to this country who had escaped what was going on. Had escaped China. Hated the CCP. And I can't tell you how, I mean, it hurt me to watch this. They had tears in their eyes. We got away from our country to get away from this. And now we're back to it. Not as bad. And they know. Anybody that comes from one of these countries, most of them want to come here. And the ones that have come to those countries say, you people don't have a clue. I think what we do is maybe we should find a lot of the people. Of course, you got to watch them because here's part of the problem. You come out there and you talk against Democrats or going this. That's why they want the pictures of these people so they can go after them. Say they'll go out there. Look, Democrats will go out there and they'll hurt you. It's happened over and over. They don't care who you are. They'll hurt you, no doubt about it. It's amazing. Now, like I said, we got 3 states that are really bad. One of them, I think it's it here. One of them is California. Voters in California are deciding on a ballot measure labeled Prop 50 that will determine new district lines to represent Californians in the state House and Senate, as well as the U.S. House of Representatives. The Democrat-led effort follows a successful redistricting process in Texas that left Lone Star Democrats with potentially 5 fewer congressional seats. The California Constitution only allows mid-decade redistricting if voters pass a referendum or a court says the maps are unconstitutional, which they'll be shooting for that anyway. What Prop 50 does is create a third way where special interests in D.C. can get legislatures to draw new maps that can create safe seats for their friends, that congressmen are not required to be accountable to the voters. Now, there is something to be said, though. But here's the problem. You don't have to live in your district, and we know this because I don't think Nancy Pelosi, was it Nancy Pelosi? A bunch of them in California Democrats do not live in their district. Nancy Pelosi's against walls, and she's got walls. I think so is Maxine Waters. So on the surface, the process seems fair, but in reality, it is a system that artificially constrains conservative voters into ultra-red districts while dispersing others into blue-leaning districts. Many argue that it is strategic undermining of conservative influence in a state where Trump garnered nearly 38% of the vote. Yet Republicans only held 9 of 52 seats, which is 17%. And like I said, there's a lot of states, especially Northeast, that virtually have no Republican representation. That doesn't count, though. In fact, that reporter we had earlier said, but in other states you have this. They didn't want to talk about that. He didn't want to talk about it. He wanted, who was it? Hakeem Jeffries don't want to talk about his instance. That's all he cared about. They're not honest. We know that. So anyway, the ballot measure, which offers a simple yes or no response, reads, authorizes temporary changes to congressional district maps in response to Texas partisan redistricting. That's the ballot language. I thought each state was individual. That's called, we don't want, because Texas did it, we're going to do it. That's partisan language. You're not supposed to have that. California's current congressional district lines, redrawn after 2020 census and first implemented in 2022, shows how supposedly impartial systems can be manipulated to favor Democrat interests. The ballot measure description requires temporary use of new congressional district maps through 2030, directs independent citizens redistricting commission to resume enacting congressional district maps in 2031, establishes policy supporting nonpartisan redistricting commissions nationwide. Fiscal impact, one-time cost to counties of up to millions of dollars statewide to update election material. Now, never think Democrats are going to just do this laying down. They're not going to. They're going to do everything they can to steal whatever they can. In fact, one of the problems, and this is why, by the way, this is why Trump is sending, well, I shouldn't say Trump, but Department of Justice, whatever, sending people to monitor elections. Because while Trump had won the election, California was stealing the elections in several districts in California. Yes, they were. But Trump is saying, we want paper ballots. Why wouldn't you? Virtually anything you do these days has a paper backup. A paper backup. Yes, you could alter that eventually, but guess what? A paper backup. So if you say we gotta count the votes, we do it. Now we know how that works too. You remember the videos where they had two people right next to each other, and they were checking the signatures next to what their voting card was, and they were right next to each other. They had a video on them. It wasn't on purpose. They didn't realize somebody got it. But they show one person, press a button, press a button, press a button, press a button. And next to them, you could tell they're trying to compare it. The other one's just popping through. They were okay in all of them. Elections have been stolen for a long time. And Trump is going to do everything he can to make sure it doesn't. That's where Trump is doing the right thing. But it's going to take time. And like I said, never ever think that Democrats are going to sit around and let it happen. It's not going to happen. Democrats, without a doubt, are going to do everything they can to make sure that they get what they want. And they are going to do it. Ooh, just saw this. Hurricane Melissa was roaring towards Jamaica early on Tuesday morning on, Category 5. The strongest to lash the island since records. Well, get your money out, baby, because what's going to happen? How come it doesn't happen here? When we have stuff happen here, we can't even get our own government to, like last time, if you're a Trump supporter, we're not going to help you. The people from FEMA just passed them up. Yeah. Well, I have a question. How many people from Jamaica or any other country, France, help the United States with hurricanes or like that? It's always the other way around. We're the money one. We're the ones that trillions in debt. It's crazy. Kelsey Grammer, he's my age. He's had his 8th child. Oh, he's 70. Still. Oh, by the way, Linda, I want to go back to something you said. I grew up in the city of St. Louis, everybody. It was a very clean area most of the time, and as certain groups took over, I'm doing a show, buddy. As certain groups took over, they took over North St. Louis first, and they trashed it. People go in there and just basically tear the buildings down. I mean, they go in there to trash the neighborhood, throw trash everywhere. They're just people that didn't care about their community, didn't care. So North St. Louis went down first. This is how communities do this. I'll just do this end of the show, kind of show some things. So they went in there, they took over. South St. Louis was still good. And the high school, by the way, the high schools in St. Louis used to be number one. Has some of the best in the nation. Now it's near the bottom. Ever since Democrats took over, the school systems have gone to crap. They just got rid of another superintendent, and for some reason, they have to be black. I've had black people give comments on the show here and say, wait a minute, you think they have to be black to be right? Black conservatives want the best person too. They don't care if they're black. And I'll be honest, I don't care if they're black, but I want the best person. But when you DEI these positions, you get mediocrity at best. It's nothing against black people. It's nothing against women. It's nothing against any of that. Oh, I got that somewhere. I'll have to find it. They asked these college kids about DEI. And of course, I don't know if you know this, most colleges require their students take a DEI class. And the students have to pay for it. They have to do that to graduate from the college. What's that got to do with what they're going to be doing, for their degree, their major? What's that got to do with anything? Well, anyway, they ask these kids, do you think that, if they're going to hire, should they consider, oh, yes. What about the NBA? Well, that's different. Why is it different? Well, it just is. It should be about merit. So you don't think, I got to find this. I'll have it for tomorrow. You're telling me that if someone's going to be a pilot, I'm telling you this now. I want them to be the best ones at their job. I don't want somebody just passed it. Dave, what is the show no? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. I'm almost done today. Call tomorrow or we'll talk later. My friend Pianki's asking a question here. And by the way, Pianki agrees with pretty much everything I say. He's an intelligent black man who's a conservative, and he's sick of the culture he has to deal with. It's wrong. Pianki has been a really great asset to me, just to bring it out here. Pianki, formerly from St. Louis, I think he lives in Louisiana now. I believe that's right. And he's actually got a bunch of conservative black friends, and he includes me on his phone calls sometimes. And they can't stand what their culture's doing either. They know it's destroying the black race. And none of them believe in reparations and all that stuff. They know it's a hoax. They know it's bullshit. And by the way, when they promise reparations, it's only to get votes. They're never going to get reparations. If they do, it's going to be horrible. And by the way, I said this yesterday. I said today, every day. Do you know how many people are moving from these places? They're promising all that stuff. Look at St. Louis history. What was the health of St. Louis when whites ran in comparison to blacks? And you know what? It's not about the color of their skin. It's the merit. There's a gentleman named Andrew Jones, who's a black conservative, And I told him, I said, Andrew, run as a Democrat because the black culture thinks you are the house in because of the fact that you're a conservative. He said, Dave, I just can't do it. I get it. Democrats do it all the time. They run as Republicans all the time. We try to be fair and honest. I get it, but that's what's happened. So for what Linda's saying here, yes, when the black liberals took over, most of them weren't qualified. Now they got a white liberal run. It doesn't make a difference. It's a liberal. That's the point. It doesn't make a difference who it is. Doesn't make a difference what color it is. If you're bad at what you do, you're bad at it. It's called merit. That's like saying we have a track meet and we're going to give people, they're going to let people cheat. That's what you're doing. They're not as good. So that's what we got to do now. How about this? Since most black players, the best black athletes as far as basketball goes are black, maybe when the white players get there, they should get 10 points to start out with. How's that? Oh no, most blacks are Democrat, no doubt about it. But you know what the good part is, Linda? A lot of black men are changing. The real men, the ones who believe that they should be fathers in the houses and stuff, they're changing. It's different. So, all right, folks, I'm done for the day. I will be back tomorrow with another exciting show, the Super Dave Show. But anyway, thanks so much for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.
You can't quit. And why not? Because you're fired. You can't fire him. Why not? He quit. Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!